Just a quick note here, one of those tips. If you look, this has got really fat leads. I mean, these are big pieces of metal compared to the new ones, and they fit tight in these holes. I mean, they got that big of a capacitor, and so you really do not want to tear this pad off when getting the lead out. So be extra careful on that. Get the solder nice and warm, and just wiggle a bit until the lead is actually free without tearing the pad. And then on this case, I had to actually clip the lead on the back side and then wiggle it through until I could get that little piece out. And just clip a little piece of lead off there, and it may seem like an extra step, but it's a lot easier than if you tear a pad and you have to try and do a jumper wire, because you can't solder into one of these things. So be careful with that, and enjoy soldering. Alright, because this 330 UF 50 volt capacitor here is so much smaller than this big old can that was in there, the leads weren't long enough in order to fit into here and there. And so I'd clipped the leads on this, hoping I could just solder onto those, but they were still too short. Plus they were much fatter leads and probably had a lot of oxidation on them over the years. So just easier to just extend the leads on these. And so one of the things that I do when I'm clipping new leads on a lot of these, you have a lot left over, and I just save them in a bag. And so I've got some leftover leads. So all I was doing was just extend these out by soldering extra leads on. Just use a couple of alligator clips to hold them together, put a little bit of flux in there, and make a nice clean little solder joint. I'm just going to take this other extra lead that I had off of another one and just solder it onto that side, and then it'll be good to go. I've already put the rest of these in, making sure that the polarity is correct. These are plus minus type capacitors, so you want to make sure you put them in correctly. Thank goodness these ones that I bought, they're very clearly marked. Some of them are difficult, but like on these gold Panasonic 105s here, that gold band is the negative side, and it has a little negative on there, so you know that it goes on the negative side. And so Seeburg notes a plus on this side, so it's really hard to do that wrong, although I've done it before. On these Lelands, they're blue, they put a black band with a little minus symbol on it so that I can tell to put the non-banded side on the plus symbol. On this Leland over here is the same thing, so that's easy to figure out. And on this big one, which was an LL brand, I'm not sure what the heck it was, but it's the only brand I could find that was actually an Axle one. It has a little stripe with arrows pointing toward the negative side of it, so I knew, and that's actually hidden now. I don't know how I have it put in. So anyway, they don't put little pluses like they used to. Now they do fun things with the negative end. So just make sure before you solder these in, double check and make sure that you didn't put them in backwards, or else they will be very bad. Okay, time to solder the other side of this. Okay, I am not the world's best solder person, but as good as I do. And the joints were clean. I made sure they were nice and fluxed and all. And so yeah, they're not perfect, but I wiggle them around, and those are solid joints. They're going to stay. And so now I've got longer leads, and I've already messed with them here a bit so that they will just fit in the holes like that. So now the can doesn't sit upright because of the other board that has to sit on top of it, because it's going to sit like that. So this is just going to sit nice and close down and be happy. And now it's time to solder. I'm just using a basic solder iron solder, little flux. The solder joints on the boards look fine, so nothing hard there. Now it's just time to do some quick soldering and be done, and then test it out. Okay, all the joints are soldered. That took all of 1 minute. Now it's time to clip the leads. I like using a little lead clipper here. Don't like to leave any pieces sticking off too far, and I do want to make sure when I cut these they're not going to shoot across the room, because these are bare to pick up off the floor. Time to clip some leads. Alright, just one more thought here. One of the things that I do is I take a lot of digital pictures, because if I take a digital picture with a large JPEG size, then later I can actually zoom in on that and I can actually see the individual components. I can see the solder joints. I can see everything that my tired eyes can't see right now. It's a lot easier. Plus I also am noting on here just what board all the different capacitors are on. So later if I want to do a replacement of all the ceramic discs and mylars, I'll know where they are and I can make an easy order of them and go get them done. Alright, other thing before I put these back in, just wanted to note, I'm going to do some cleaning while I'm here. Two things specifically. I want to clean contacts. This is a triplet relay that is on the front side that plugs in, and in there are 4 little contacts. Actually there's 8, but it's 4 on each side. And so I've got a piece of thicker cardstock type paper, and I'm going to spray some contact cleaner on the paper and then just gently rub it back and forth to try and clean off any of the gunk that has gotten in those contacts. Same thing with this one right here. This is a solenoid that basically opens and closes this set of contacts right here. So I'm just going to take and saturate this paper and just rub it in there until the paper no longer has any black on it. Alright, I put it all back together again. It cleaned the contacts. Now it's time to just turn it on in the machine to make sure it works. Wait a minute, no, don't do that. We want to make sure that I didn't goof something up that will cause problems if I flip the switch. So, before I do anything else, I'm going to use my dim bulb tester. This little thing is something I just rigged up from spare parts that I had sitting around. But basically what it is it puts a light bulb, in this case a 60-watt light bulb, in the circuit, so that this plugs into my dim bulb tester. My dim bulb tester, I'm plugging into a power strip that has a fuse to it, and then it plugs into the GFCI. So basically, hopefully I'm protected, and if this works correctly, we'll see this. Let's see, ready, set, go. See that? Very dim bulb. If that was glowing brightly, we would have a problem, or I would have a problem, not you. I go back and troubleshoot and see what I did wrong, but instead this thing is just sitting here glowing dim. Everything is good to go. Now it is time to go and plug it back into my jukebox. Alright, so Digital Control Center is back in the jukebox. Everything is plugged in. Got my trip back in place. Everything is secure. Made sure I got this all tightened back down again. Everything is good to go. Put my light bulb back in, which is well, it's good to have light. Now it's time to see if my control center works like it did before I decided to give it an update. So close that back up. Turn on the power. Pick a song. Still need to clean that neck a bit. Got it working, it's oiled well, but I haven't actually made it shiny yet. Seems to be working as intended. Alright. success.